What is up, everybody? Are you guys tired of losing to this deck? Yeah, this deck behind me that's just comboing off with a bunch of combos. But guess what? You guys found the correct video because I'm going to show you guys how to beat Infernoble. Now, push past the actual little introduction I just did here. That's not my real voice. My name is actually yugioh, YouTuber, going on for a long time now. And in today's video, like I said, I'm going to give you guys the tips and tricks on how to beat Infernoble. This is definitely one of the best decks in the meta, and there are some pretty cool cards that you guys may or may not know about to help give you guys an edge over said deck. Despite the fact that we don't have actual real life events, we have remote duel tournaments coming up thanks to Konami, and we actually got a lot of people doing the LCS. So you guys that play competitively, this can definitely help you guys out. And if you're new here, subscribe for more and hit that like button. So, with all that being said, let's get into it. Without further ado, let's begin.
Ice on my wrist, looking kinda cool. Bad bitch with me, she ain't tryna move. Niggas staring at me, what you tryna do? Got me looking at my watch, and it's time to do.
Starting out by saying, Infernoble. How does the deck exactly play? As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the deck is literally a break my board or bust type of deck, meaning they make a big field, they can kind of grind it out, and you have to break the board to essentially beat the deck. And that's easier said than done because they typically have about 4 to 5 negates. And generally, that deck wants to go first. So I'm going to focus the first half of this video on this deck going first. The second half of the video, we're going to focus on the deck going second. So the deck is going to go first, set up his board. The main thing you guys want to do, the main thing, is to make sure you hit that Isolde. Isolde is the main combo starter for the deck. They can literally bring out their, I don't know the card names, don't ask me, but I just know how the deck finishing field is. And they bring out they just get the combo off. Sewing out Isolde can really help you out a lot. Having things in the side deck and or main deck like Infinite Impermanence and or Fake Veiler is pretty huge this format for you guys that have been living under a shell and that have not played online like myself. Everyone's running those cards. Of course, you can Nibiru as well, but considering the fact that that deck plays a card called Smoke Grenade that rips a card out of your hand when it's destroyed, Nibiru may or may not resolve. And then not to mention as well, they have a 4 summon play that can bring out their monster negate that can pretty much tank Nibiru. A lot of the times they're not always going to be able to tank Nibiru and negate Nibiru. However, slowing them down with the Fake Veiler and or Impermanence can help you guys a lot. Now, that's obvious. Ghost Ogre as well, removing their extra link summon. But the main key focus, you want to stop the Isolde play. Now, let's say they broke up, because there's not really much you can do, because they're going to get this combo off anyway. Let's say they actually made their board. They were successful. Now, obviously, we have things like Forbidden Droplets, which removes... You're probably going to have to discard up to 2 to 3 monsters out of your hand to negate their full field. However, depending on your hand, you may be able to actually just out their board just by allowing them to waste their negates and then combo off and beating them, like you can do with decks like Heroes, for example, that are rogue. However, if you're playing meta, you may or may not have that option, because to my knowledge, a lot of meta decks this format, you can negate them 2 to 3 times, just like every other deck, and they can't really recur that much. Decks like Heroes that are rogue, they can just combo off with a polymerization as well. But let's say they do have their field that's just broken up right there. You guys definitely want to make side deck Super Poly if you're afraid of this deck. Reason being, while doing research for this video, I discovered there's a card called Draco Dragon Ekeist, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's essentially a Super Poly target. You play your Super Poly, right? You get rid of 1 warrior and 1 dragon synchro monster. They always have the dragon synchro monster that can negate spell, trap, and monster effects by removing a token, I believe, off itself. I forgot his name, can't think of it, but essentially you target that monster, target their negate guy. Now you have a fat fusion monster on your board that can help you just play throughout the turn. That's a really powerful card for that deck, and I highly recommend you guys picking up this card. Super Polys are about, what, dollars? And the Draco Dragon Ekeist, at the timing of filming this video, you can get it as high as $150 for you baller players and low as 49 cents for you budget players like myself. So it's definitely something you guys should look into for that deck. Now, let's say you guys say, okay, I'm going first, Chris. What do I have to do? You guys already know my favorite side deck card for this format is going to be Prohibition. That's another card you guys can look into as well. Prohibition and ISO, they can be huge, really slowing that deck down. Another great card, Prohibition. You guys may disagree with me. You can Prohibition because the deck does, at least the builds I've played against at locals, they run the Neospatian engine to rip cards out of your hand and then combo into ISO and then combo off. You can Prohibition and Neospatian guy, and that might just F up their hand. But let's say Prohibition's not an option. Let's say you're not a fan of the card. Guess what? Super Poly is a quick play, meaning you can set the Super Poly in a deck that's any deck, and Super Poly on the turn when they combo off, mess with their board, and they're good. Now, granted, they may be able to pop a Super Poly and or play around if they see a game 1 or 2, but that's still an option you have. Another awesome card for the Infernoble Knight matchup is also Different Dimension Grounds. Now, this is a card that has not really seen side deck play, but considering I'm a hero player and Dark Law just completely craps on 90% of the meta, I think this is a good card that people can look at moving forward for not only just the Infernoble Knight matchup, but for decks in general, because a lot of decks right now are relying on their graveyard. Shadows, for example, Infernoble Knights. Every meta deck under the sun is really relying on their graveyard to pop off, with the exception of like Monarchs, but even Monarchs to a certain extent gets screwed over by this card. So this is just another cool card you guys can check out. Another card you guys can use going second is Winged Dragon of Ra Spear Mode. That's an amazing card. In my opinion, it's better than Nibiru because they do have the out for Nibiru a lot of the times on a 4th summon. But if you Winged Dragon of Ra them in a deck like Shadows, you can tribute over their monsters, leave the monster that's summoned from the extra deck, and pop off with your Shadow Fusion. Like little things like that just seems really good in that deck. And not to mention as well, Winged Dragon of Ra, well, technically, it's divine. It's not light, but I was thinking it was light because there are some other things you can do with it as well. However, that's just a solid card against the deck in general. So, ultimately, at the end of the day, because I don't want to keep this video too long, how to beat Infernoble Knights in a nutshell for this meta. The majority of you guys from this video are probably just going to start side decking Super Poly and Droll and Lightbird. That should get the job done. If you're running Rogue like myself and you're having heavy issues against that deck, I would highly recommend siding in more. And I can go over multiple different ways as well. If you guys want a side deck video and discussion video, post in the comment section down below. So yeah, man, that's just my video in a nutshell, man. If you're going second, make sure you have your Super Polys ready and or Droll main deck and or some form of negation main deck, so that way you can slow the deck down and or clear their field. And then if you're going first, essentially the same thing, if you will, but you can always add some spice with things like Prohibition. I think even Goes in Match, that the one that affects the attribute, no, I think Rivalry of the Warlords, because Goes in Match is tribute. So yeah, I think cards like Rivalry of the Warlords is good as well because it allows them to stop some of their extra deck plays. So tell me what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Once again, like the video if you're new here and subscribe for more. If you guys want to see more episodes of the Beating series, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I do plan on doing at least one episode a week. So if you guys want to see these type of videos, let me know. Show some love. It's your boy Ro here, and I'm signing out. Peace and stay innovative. Deuces.